Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today in Insight Tonight with Ashok Vyas, we are going to be meeting two lovely ladies. When I say lovely ladies, we are talking about someone who has recently won a coveted title of Miss Pakistan USA, and also the co-founder of this pageant, Zanib. Naveed is also with us. So first, I will invite Zanib to say something about what is Miss Pakistan USA, and welcome to ITV studio.
Hello, Shok. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay, so Miss Pakistan USA was founded 2 years ago in 2014. We started our pageant in Maryland, was our first pageant. And we had the pageant again in New York this year. It's basically a pageant to empower women. We want to bring out the positive image of Pakistan, and we just want to show what the women of Pakistan are doing in today's world to help the other girls and the youth, and as well as helping the community grow.
Wonderful. So helping the community grow, and also there is a responsibility that moves along with Miss Pakistan USA pageant winner, which definitely is rooted in the kind of image which Pakistan have, and especially these days as we are looking at the beautiful side of Pakistan through the winner of Miss Pakistan USA pageant. And as I welcome Sarish Khan to our studio, there are many additional responsibilities which probably comes to her with this crown. But first, fresh, pure congratulations, Sarish. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you so much, Ashok, for having me.
So, Sarish, tell me the general basic idea about beauty. What do you think makes someone beautiful?
I think beauty is something that's defined in a unique manner for everyone. And for me, beauty is just a representation of who you are and being true to yourself and following your dreams. I think that's what makes everybody unique, and that's what brings beauty to life.
Wonderful. That is a beautiful way of saying who you are. But are our pageants, the way they are designed, really working towards learning about the personality or the true self of the participants? Zanib, what would you say?
I think yes, definitely. I think every woman itself, speaking of Sarish, has her own personality. She had her own beliefs in how she wants to, what this pageant is gonna, what she wants to achieve out of this pageant, basically. So I think she's on the right track. She won as Miss Pakistan, and her personality shows as the things that she is doing in life today as a beauty queen or a pageant queen winner. So I think yes.
So now, what is it that makes personality of a girl in today's world, and especially those who have overlap of cultures? So there is at family one cultural influence coming from, let's say, Pakistan or India or Bangladesh or whatever their native places, and then another, of course. There are distinct differences as far as culture is concerned between America and all the South Asian countries. So how do you think or feel this overlap of cultures has helped in formulating your personality?
Well, I was born in Lahore, Pakistan, and I lived there until I was about 7 years old. And I have to say I love being a Pakistani American, because in America it's really a mixing bowl of different cultures. So you really learn from each other, and it's not that one culture or perspective is highlighted. People really come together. That in the workplace, in schools, or just in the community in general. And being from Pakistan, I think there's so many diverse aspects of Pakistan. Like the culture in Sindh is different, and Punjab is different, and being able to exemplify that in America, it's a great opportunity for me, and I really think that's what makes me diverse and makes me stand out in the community. So I've really enjoyed that aspect of life.
Talking about diversity and talking about the role of women in Pakistani society, as we hear, and of course the well-known international call it poster girl that is now synonymous with empowering girls for education, Malala, Now, Zanib, when you thought about this pageant, were you apprehensive how your family members are going to react to this idea that now you are starting something which is totally no-no, or were they supportive?
Well, I've been very fortunate that my family supports me in everything that I do. And when I brought up the idea of starting a pageant, basically my thought behind it, what I wanted to achieve out of it was a clear image to my parents. They understood that it wasn't something, how basically I wanted to pursue this pageant. I wanted women, educated women of Pakistan, to basically have a platform to go out and bring out the positivity of this pageant, make a difference, do the right thing. We have such a negative image in certain areas of Pakistan, and I just wanted to promote that, you know, we have intelligent women, we have educated women, and they're out there making a difference. And I've been very fortunate that my parents support me in the field that I want to go into. And yes.
Wonderful. I think similar must be the case with you, Sarish, but she said that there is so much negative image of Pakistan, and there are many reasons, and as we speak, recently there have been an attack at Pathankot Air Force Base in India, and the attackers had some links with Pakistan, that being one case. But in general, we have heard again and again that many terror outfits have their roots or their links in Pakistan. So that that creates a sort of negative baggage of image of Pakistan. So how do you deal with that?
Sure, I think that's a great question, and it's very relevant in the political atmosphere that's here in America. I would say, as someone who worked in Karachi for a year, I was working with USAID, and I was traveling to areas like Liari and Kurangi, and for people who are not familiar with it, they're outside of the city in the suburbs. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of negative is highlighted in the media, and I don't blame the media for it, because I think it's up to young people in America and in Pakistan to really bring to light the positive that's happening, because there is a lot of that. I've met many young women here in America and Pakistan, for example, Kusum Lakhani, who is who's an entrepreneur who connects investors with entrepreneurs in Pakistan, or nonprofits such as Comprehensive Disaster Response Services, for which I'm the Women Empowerment Ambassador, that has social entrepreneurship programs in Pakistan. And I really think that people need to highlight the positives as well, to kind of show that there is a balance. You know, I would say there's good and bad in every nation, and if we just focus or see the negatives in news, then that's kind of what our image is. So, you know, that's what I strive to do with my title as well, is to bring out more of the positives and talk about the positives.
Okay, let's talk about positives then. So what do you think is positive in Pakistan as far as women's condition is considered, if you consider women's condition in present day Pakistan?
Like, I would agree with what Sarish said. Women are going towards education more. There's women who are working, who are entrepreneurs, who are actually in the field and kind of forensic in things that they want to pursue in life. So there was a time when, you know, women weren't allowed to do certain things because of basically how they were brought up, or the kind of society that they live in. In today's society, we're very fortunate that women can step up to the platform and deliver, and they would have the support that they need. And there's so many examples of it. Like you brought up before, like Malala. Yes, she's a perfect example of somebody, a young Pakistani woman who's making a difference, you know, no matter what anybody's saying or what may be stopping it.
Sarish, let's talk a little bit about the lighter side of life. And as you were growing up, and probably you were around 7, as you mentioned, when you came to America. So, what are the memories that you have, especially of that period when you were trying to settle down in a new environment? Anything in particular that has stayed with you? Something at that age when you came here, you started missing that? Oh, in Lahore it was like this, but in DC it is not there.
Yeah, so I think I've been very fortunate in that matter because I grew up in Pakistan in a joint family system, which is pretty much the norm, especially in Lahore. So I grew up with my dada, dadi, and my chachas, and my whole family around me. And then when I moved to America, I was fortunate to live close to my mom's family and my dad's family as well. And I also grew up with my nani, so when I was in Pakistan and in America, she's been living with me. So that culture and that close-knit family system stayed with me. But there were little things that I remembered as a child, like the ice cream wala, which is the ice cream truck guy who would kind of yell out in the evening, and all the kids would rush to the streets and get ice cream. So those are little things that I remember that didn't really happen in America. But I also built other memories here. So I've been fond of both places.
Wonderful. Zanib, talking about Pakistan from the point of view of education, the way you probably, Miss Pakistan USA, may make some significant contribution in increasing awareness about the education for girl child. Is there anything in the pipeline or any project that you and Sarish or any members of your team are working?
Actually, yes, I would like to say, and I'm going to pass it on to Sarish to talk about the things that she has decided to do in her vein, and I'm supportive of the things that she has planned out, and she could tell you a little bit more about it, so I'll let her do that. Absolutely. Instead of me.
So Sarish, back to you about the same reference.
Well, so I work with a nonprofit. It's called, like I mentioned, CDRS, and they work on many different projects. And while they do focus on education a little, their primary focus is on healthcare and economic stability. And as somebody who worked in Pakistan for education, for primary education for girls a few years back, I realized that there are many other issues that also need to be tackled along with education, such as healthcare. If a child's unhealthy and if a child cannot afford to get a proper education, because you have to realize a lot of times 12 and 13-year-olds are supporting members of the household. They're earning income. So if you're pulling them away from the family and putting them in school, you also have to subsidize their families. So recently I've been working more on projects that are going to support educational projects such as economic growth in Pakistan, and also mother-child healthcare centers, along with comprehensive disaster response services that is very active in the northern areas of Pakistan where there isn't a lot of availability and there isn't a lot of NGOs going in those areas. So I think it's all linked and it's all connected, but that's been my primary focus during my reign, along with just being a positive example for young people here and really having a movement in America as well.
And Sarish, I know that you were in Pakistan as a member of USAID, as you just mentioned. So how was that experience, if we talk a little bit more in detail in terms of the way Pakistani girls' self-images these days, in terms of their ability to say what they feel with confidence, or the freedom that they have in choosing the career or following their dreams, your interaction and first-hand experience?
Sure. So I was living in the city in Karachi when I was working, but I was traveling to remote areas of Karachi for work, and I was really surprised by the diversity and the amount of difference in certain areas. While Karachi City, I found a lot of women were very confident, and there are a lot of women in the workforce, which was a lot different for me than being in Lahore. So that was refreshing to see that a lot of women were working and they were very confident. And I will also say that when I traveled to different areas in Karachi and met with younger girls in areas like the SOS village, which they have orphans and they put them through schools, they have this hunger for education. They really want to learn. And I want to highlight that a lot of times I hear people say that in Pakistani culture, like, girls don't want to go to school or their parents don't want them to. I don't think that's necessarily correct. I think it's more so the resources, or it's more so the mentality of men, because I did notice the culture, and I could be wrong, it might not be the same in every area, but I did notice the culture of being intimidated by women who are educated. So I think that a lot of women do have that hunger, do have that drive to become something, and they just need a little bit of push or a little bit of encouragement. So it was refreshing to see that, and that really drove me towards wanting to help people in Pakistan.
You bring out a very important point, and I think it's universally true in some way that men are intimidated by successful women or confident or women or assertive women, but this becomes even more prominent in cultures like, as we hear from Pakistani references, being male-dominated society, and then there are some traditional mindset-oriented people who want women to behave in certain fashion. They don't want them to come out in open, not even open for interaction. So when we talk about gender equality, Zanib, that's a big challenge, and I think that is not restricted to geographical area of Pakistan. When we come with that culture to whatever country we are, do you see that there is a need to do something for practicing gender equality?
Absolutely. I do think that gender equality is an issue that Pakistan itself is facing, and I think somewhat of the United States as well. You know, if we talk about the income that a man makes as compared to female, and then the whole thing that Sarish brought up about education. Like, yes, there are certain steps that need to be taken, and there are things that I think, I personally believe that while a household, the family that you're living in, I personally believe that it's the mother and father's responsibility to kind of educate your kids about equality between a man and a woman. And it's always been like that in my house, where I see the equality in my house. So I know, like, if I see some unfairness outside, I know something is being wrong. So I think it's better to educate your kids, start off from there, than bringing it to the bigger horizon. Kind of tell your family members and tell the people that you live with about gender equality as it is. And then of course we see it in different work fields and as far as like acting and any field that you kind of see it in.
Sarish, any personal experience of this kind where you felt a little bit, let's say, not happy with someone's way of thinking about another gender?
I don't think I've had a personal experience, but I have seen other people, I have heard conversations that have kind of thrown me off track. And as Miss Pakistan, my platform is gender equality, and I do want to clarify that a lot of people confuse the term, and for me gender equality means equal opportunity. So it doesn't, I don't promote that every woman should go out and work or has to step outside the home or go against her family's cultures or her upbringing. I have two sisters, and they're both married, and for part of their marriages they were stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home wives, and then went back to their careers and pursued their careers. So I think it's different for everyone, but no one should be restricted if they want to try something in life. So I haven't really experienced it. I come from a family of very strong women. My mom's a single mother and she's raised me on her own, and my nanny was also a working woman. So I really haven't experienced it on a personal level, but I have seen it a little bit in the community.
So Zanib, when you decided to go ahead with Miss Pakistan USA pageant, organizing anything, even if it is small, bringing a couple of friends together, it requires a tremendous amount of effort. So share with us the challenge, and now that you have successfully done it for 3 years or so.
It's 2 years. It's
2
never
years.
3, yes.
How is the feeling now?
Actually, if I was really honest, it's overwhelming at times. It's like you said, bringing a community together. It's not the easiest thing to do, especially as controversial, I would say, as the topic might be, as Miss Pakistan. So it's hard. It's hard to bring the community together. And luckily now, I was just talking to Sarish about it, that this is going to be my 3rd year doing it. And I'm more stable into doing it now, because I know how to go around it, the difficulties that I have to face, and I'm so grateful that I have such a wonderful team behind me. Like this year that it's going to take place in 2016, I am more at comfort that I have the right people working with me. I couldn't have had a better Miss Pakistan than I have now, and luckily she's in the Virginia, Maryland area, so to bring the community together, I think she has set the standard already as it is. People know about her, people know what she is pursuing and what her motives are behind this pageant and what she wants to do with the title. So I think it's easier to bring the community together to kind of show that, hey, this is what this girl has done, this is what our pageant stands for, and we want you to come there to see the crowning of the next one. And that's the standard that we have now.
Wonderful. Sarish, you are kind of a role model, so to say.
Thank you.
Share with us, when was it that you heard for the first time about Miss Pakistan USA pageant, and what was it that prompted you to participate in it?
Sure. So growing up, I wasn't really aware of the pageantry life. I didn't really grow up watching a lot of pageants or knowing what exactly a pageant entailed. And it really wasn't until 2014 when Nina Duvallari won Miss America, and she is an American woman of Indian descent. And I really admired her because her platform was, and I hope I'm not misstating it, but Circles of Unity, which was about cultural awareness. And she was a pre-med student, and at the time, and also currently, I'm a law student. And after watching her story and seeing her win Miss America, which is such a large platform, I really wanted to do the same for Pakistan. And I realized, why can I not do the same as a Pakistani woman who's in law school? So I started researching pageants. I had no idea if there was anything for Pakistan, and that's when I fell upon Miss Pakistan USA. And the one thing that I really liked about the pageant and the way Zanib's organized it is that Miss Pakistan USA does not have a swimsuit section. And though I think it's completely fine to have that in any pageant, I think it gives a lot of Pakistani women the opportunity to be in a public platform and talk about the things that they want to do. So I really, that's really where my inspiration came from. And since I won the title, I realized there's so much responsibility that goes along with it. I get messages from people, some good, some bad. Sometimes it's criticism, but I take it all in positive light. And a lot of times there's young girls who will message and ask me about my journey or ask me how I deal with it or about law school and so many different topics. So I really do enjoy being able to give back to the community and kind of be in touch with the entire society here.
So giving back to the community, connecting also is a way of giving back, because when you connect, you bring a sense of oneness, you bring a sense of being positive about who you are, and that's what Zanib is doing in her own way. Zanib, share with me how you zeroed down on the steps that would become a part of Miss Pakistan USA pageant. How many, let's say, items, if I use that term, so one layer, second layer. So as a layman, if I do not know much about how the pageant business is conducted on stage, so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when I started Miss Pakistan in 2014, like I said before, it was a difficult journey. It was a very controversial topic. But now I feel like I'm more stable at it, and it wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was the easiest thing, and I think the steps have been very difficult getting where I am today. But like I said before, it's been a journey. I have the most amazing team to work with right now, and I just see the positivity in it. Like slowly it's building up, and I wish Miss Pakistan goes on for many, many, many years, and we're looking back at it and saying, okay, this was the 10th Miss Pakistan. You know, we're standing at the 2nd Miss Pakistan today. So I just hope that it continues to grow, and I hope it continues to set the right boundaries and right standards, and that's my hope for it, basically.
So lots of good wishes for Zanib, and we will take a short break. But when we come back, as we are talking to Miss Pakistan USA, and in the pageant, there is one section where she has or every participant is supposed to face some of the interesting questions. So we have some questions waiting for Miss Pakistan USA in this Inside Tonight show today. We'll be right back. Stay with us right after this short break.
This is nervous.
Welcome back. You're watching Inside Tonight with Ashok Vyas, and we are talking to Miss Pakistan USA pageant winner Sarish Khan, and also joining us today is the founder of Miss Pakistan USA pageant, Zanib. Both of them representing that side of Pakistan, which we do not know that much, because through news, most of the time we associate Pakistan with something which is horrifying, because we often come across news items where we see potential link of some terrorist, some terror outfit, or even recently in America when there was attack that killed innocent people. The lady in question had some link with Pakistan. From there she moved to Saudi Arabia. So before we talk about the lighter side of the pageant, let's go towards this side, which is very, very disturbing for one and all. And when you hear about this, Sarish, that she grew up in Pakistan, and this is where this kind of radicalization happened, how that makes you feel personally. And then the second stage is when others put you in a spot where you have to counter their impressions.
Well, I would say that when I first heard the news, when I first saw the news on TV and the shooters had not been identified, and just to clarify, we're talking about the San Bernardino shootings. Honestly, inside there was a gut feeling where I was like, I really hope they're not Muslim. It didn't have to do with them being from Pakistan or being from elsewhere, because there's all sorts of people everywhere. There's good and bad in America, in Pakistan, and everywhere. So you can't really pinpoint a nation for a tragedy that's taken place. But there is a strong notion of Islamophobia in America, and that is something I do want to address, because Islam is a beautiful culture and it gives you a lot of liberty, and I think there's no religion or culture in the world that's really going to teach you to do such crimes. So I think that watching the news, it saddens me when I see it, regardless of what religion or culture it is. And as far as people that I know in the community or their reactions, I would have to say, like, I grew up in a primarily Caucasian neighborhood in Virginia. And so most of my friends have grown up with me, and they've seen my lifestyle and my family. And the first question to them was that, I wonder where they're from in Pakistan, because your family is not like that, or you don't have those beliefs. So I think the best thing you can do is be a positive example and be integrated in the community and show a positive side of your culture and religion, so that people understand that when things like San Bernardino happen, it's not because of a cultural or a religious link, it's because of someone's personal motives. So I think that's very important to do.
Sarish, I would like to believe what you are saying, but what we hear again and again, that tells us that probably there are some people who find conviction of harming others from the text which is considered pious, or its interpretation of certain kind. And then now we have the rise of ISIS also, which is of course proclaiming what you are saying is not a part of being Muslim, or and that is perfectly understandable. But let's try and understand, what is it that leads them to come up with this kind of ideology and act, and not only those who are born Muslims, but those who get converted from Christianity or another religion to Muslim. Few years down the line, you see them also behaving in a fashion which is not a civilized fashion, or which is not actually promoting the creation of a peaceful world. So Zanib, sometimes indeed we don't have the answers, but we try to address them. when you ask this question and you try to deal with it, what are the potential reasons which leads people to become radicalized and that they have no respect for innocent lives?
See, I'm just gonna go back to what you said about converting, right? So when you're converting into Islam, let's say from Christianity to Islam, when you read Quran, the thing that Quran promotes is peace. So when people say that they have read the Quran and it says that, you know, it's okay to go out and kill, it never says that. It always promotes peace. So when people take these kind of initiatives to kind of go and harm others, they're just trying to build a fear, a useless fear. And they're basing it on, okay, we're doing it in the name of religion. But if you really know the religion, nowhere does it ever say that go out and kill anyone. So it's just the lack of education. I will blame it on the lack of education, because that's the fair way to say it for myself, that you haven't educated yourself about the religion itself. So if you're going to use the name of Islam and say that I'm killing in the name of Allah, that's the worst thing that you could possibly do. You're basically putting down your own religion. I don't believe those people are Muslim. They cannot say that this is what our religion promotes.
What you are saying resonates with what President Barack Obama said right after the San Bernardino shooting happened. And then again, there are many examples which we already have on record, and there will be more. So there is something which is beyond our understanding. I would say, I would put both of you and me in that bracket where we fail to understand what is it that is making them behave the way they are behaving. But there are these words like jihad, there are words like kafir, etc., etc. There is a very dangerous world that we have created for ourselves, and there is a lot of mistrust. So when you said Islamophobia, maybe one Republican presidential hopeful made a very extreme statement like Donald, but he was then, Donald Trump was opposed by majority of Americans. So share with me when you heard about his statement and the counter reaction, your impressions.
Sure. I would have to say, and I just want to touch back a little bit about the context of what's in Islam or the religion. And I by no means am a scholar of Islam, but I do want to say that anytime you take any book, whether it's a book or a regular book, the Quran is a very large book. And as a student of law, if you open up a book and you just take a sentence out of it, or you take a paragraph out, you're taking it out of context. So it could completely change the meaning of what you're reading if you're just looking at one certain provision, whether it's in a law or whether it's in the Quran. And I think that's what takes place a lot of times, that people will nitpick certain sections to suit what they want and suit their motives. And that's something you can't do. You have to read it as a whole and understand it as a whole, because it all fits together. And as far as certain presidential candidates, I think it's a lack of education, and it's a lack of cultural competency, because there's a large population of Muslims in America in different fields, in the armed forces, in law, in medicine, who are doing great things in the community. And to really just pick up an entire religion or an entire sector or area of the world and say, you know, all that there is negative out of that area is going to be to that candidate's detriment. So I won't comment too much about politics. I'll stay away from that topic for now, but I do think it has to do with a lack of education and really understanding the grassroots of the issue.
Talking about education, and now switching gears slightly, because this is a theme where we really don't have enough of scholarship, understanding, and there are some questions which are likely to remain unanswered. But what we can answer at the moment is, what was it that prompted Sarish to take up law as her favorite way to grow into becoming a law student?
Yeah, so it was actually when I worked in Pakistan. I did my bachelor's in economics and then went to Pakistan to work for a year. And we faced so many legal issues, without going into too much detail, with funding and just carrying forward our project, because it was a US and UK based project in Pakistan, and everybody kind of wanted control of how they wanted to manage it. And it was really the frustration that I faced from dealing with the legal issues and not understanding what they were, that I decided to go to law school. So initially when I started, I really wanted to do international law, whether it was human rights or international contracts. So that's really where I decided I want to go to law school, so that I can really make a difference internationally.
So now let us hope she makes a difference internationally. And talking a little bit about the glamorous world. Zanib, I heard that she comes from a family of actors. Have you seen any of the work of her family members who were well known in Pakistan, Sabina Khanum and Santosh Kumarji?
Yes, Sabia Khanum
Sabia
is
Khanum.
her, yes. She's her grandmother. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her, but I've heard some great things about her, and I know everyone that I know talks about the work that Sabia Khanum has done. And I haven't seen much. I haven't really seen the movies, but I've heard really, really great things about some of the work that she has done. I'm really looking forward to meeting her grandmother. When I came to Virginia last time, I was hoping to meet her at an event, and hopefully that will happen.
So now, you probably might have seen Sarish now in the era of YouTubes, and have you seen some of the work of your grandmother?
Yeah, actually, I've grown up seeing so many of her movies. So, she did over 100 movies in the Pakistani film industry, and I've seen not all of them, but a majority of them. And along with her songs, and she also sings. So I've grown up around her and really been in that environment all of my life. So I'm very familiar with her work.
So now, any of the character portrayed by her, of course, it belongs to a period which is a couple of decades behind us. Could you relate to the characters played by her in some way? Any character that you want to share, refer?
One of my favorite movies of hers was Ek Guna Aur Sahi, in which she played a double character. So she played a double role, which I guess one was the good and then one was the bad. So I really enjoyed that because I've never seen her in that personality, and it was a very strong, dominant female personality. So I really liked that character and I really liked that role, and that's actually what kind of brought me to acting, because I thought that was such a unique career where you get to play different roles, and I think it helps you understand yourself as well.
And in your informal interaction with her, she must have given you some idea about what is it that makes someone a good actor. And I heard you are also taking some acting classes.
Yes, so I have recently started taking some acting classes in DC, and I'm also training with my nani. And I'll say she's a very, very tough teacher because she will critique you. And some of her pointers are just to really absorb yourself in the character. So if you are playing the character of a girl who's from a village, then you really need to understand the culture that goes along with it, or even the dialect that you speak in, or how they interact with women, with men, with their community. So it's really, you have to mentally morph into that person, whether it's something you agree with or not, because there's going to be times where you're playing a character and you don't agree with the way that character is being portrayed. But that's really the beauty of art, because you can express other people's opinions, in a medium that is entertaining to people, and they will watch it, as opposed to maybe you just giving a speech or just writing something about it. So I'm really looking forward to trying something new out that I've always had an interest in, but have really always been scared because my nani had such a high standard in the Pakistani film industry that I wanted to make sure I was up to that standard before I took a chance at it.
You said it beautifully, and now Zanib, let's go to that beautiful moment when she was on the stage on her way to become Miss Pakistan USA. The question that there is around when you ask some question, maybe your judges ask, what was it that she was asked? Do you remember?
I think her question was, what does being a woman mean to you? If I am correct, yes,
Is
I
she-
think that's what it.
yeah,
That's
is she
what it
correct,
was.
Sarish?
She's correct.
Okay, and what did you say?
I don't remember exactly, but I can just say what I feel about it right now. And it's that a woman plays so many different roles in her life, and she takes on different responsibilities, as does a man. But from being a daughter, and then being a mother, being a wife, being a best friend, there's so many different characters you play in life, and you have to balance, being a working woman with taking care of your family. But overall, I think that after God, it's a woman that brings life into this world, and that's really the most beautiful and the most powerful thing that you have as a woman. So to me, that is what makes a woman unique and makes her beautiful.
Wonderful. And what makes a woman beautiful, we heard from Sarish, and what makes this world beautiful is that which we refer to as love. And it is love that unites, it is love that brings a sense of harmony and togetherness, a sense of peace, which is essential for growth. So moving towards relationship between India and Pakistan, recently there was a surprise visit by Prime Minister of India to Pakistan. You heard about that, and how did you feel?
I think it's wonderful. Anytime India and Pakistan open their doors to each other and open their homes to each other, I think it's wonderful. We share such a similar culture and values, and growing up in America, I think I'm so fortunate to be around Indians, around Pakistanis, around Americans, Hispanics, and I've learned so much from everyone. So I think it's wonderful when the two nations do meet, whether it's in a formal or informal setting.
So how many languages do you speak, Sarish?
I speak Urdu, Punjabi, English, and very little Spanish.
So in Urdu, if you were to say a dialogue from the film of your grandmother, is there something, not exactly, but something that you can say? उर्दू में कुछ आप बोलकर बताएं.
Not a dialogue, मगर मैं एक गाने की लाइन ज़रूर कहूँगी. तुम जुग जुग जियो सरकार हम तेरी नगरिया में आए.
तो ये गा के बताना पड़ेगा.
नहीं गाना. I wish I could sing, मगर गाना मुझे नहीं आता.
आप प्रयास करेंगी तो गाना आपको निश्चित रूप से आ जाएगा. और जो बातें आती हैं वो कभी कभी आके चली भी जाती हैं अगर हम उन्हें पकड़ के नहीं रखें. तो ऐसी कौन सी बात है जिसको आप पकड़ कर रखना चाहेंगी? Something that you would like to preserve, which you have experienced or learnt. Sarish.
I think something that I can preserve for the rest of my life that I've learned is cooking. I love cooking, and it is such a big part of the Pakistani cultural fabric. Also, I would say the Indian cultural fabric, and that you welcome your guests into your home or your families, and you sit around a table and share a wonderful meal. So I've learned many new dishes while I was living in Pakistan, and also from my mom here. And I think that's something I can really hold on to. And I think it's a perfect way that when I foresee the future and having my own family, that I can introduce them to a little bit of Pakistan in America.
Wonderful. And now a few questions for both of you. Starting from you, Zanib. Do you watch Hindi films? Which is your favorite Hindi film?
Oh, I'm gonna go back to Dil Wale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. I'm a big Shah Rukh Khan fan. I would say proudly.
You have seen Dil Wale?
Dil Wale, yes, recent movie, right? Dil Wale.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
I
didn't like that, right?
No, I'm sorry to say it wasn't one of my
Hey,
favorites.
Shah Rukh, don't hear this, okay?
Please don't. It was one of my
Okay.
favorite. Well, Shah Rukh Khan is one of my favorite actor, but I was a bit disappointed by Dil Wale.
Okay, and what's your favorite film, Sarish?
Well, my current favorite film is Baji Ramastani because it was such a beautiful movie about love and also the underlying message of, Deepika being Muslim and Bajirao being Hindu, and that love is beyond religion and culture and everything else. So that's been my most recent favorite movie, but I would say my all-time favorite movies is Sarkar with Amitabh Bachchan and Abhishek Bachchan. I loved the chemistry between the father and son in that movie, and it had a very strong message. So
Relationship is definitely important. So in order to sustain a relationship with all its beauty, of course, understanding is one word and love is another word. But what would be your special insight? What do you think helps in sustaining a relationship?
I believe it's honesty and being yourself.
Hmm.
That's a perfect example of
Sarish?
it.
I think just communication is just the basic of any relationship, whether it's a family relationship or between a spouse or friends. But beyond that, I think the most important thing is listening. Because many times we get so busy in expressing ourselves and talking, but we're not really listening to what the other person's saying. And it's not just verbal, because you have to understand what context words have. So I think really paying attention to the other person and understanding what they're feeling starts with really listening to what they're telling you.
Any role model that you consider has been a source of inspiration for you from Pakistan, male, female?
Am I going first?
You go.
You go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, first and foremost, my mom is my biggest inspiration
Just gonna say
because she's a single parent, and I've grown up all my life without ever feeling like there was anything missing in my life. So she's been a great role model of someone who's balanced her career with family life and really kept her family together. But beyond that, I would say a male that has been a role model. And before I say this, I want to clarify, it's not because I affiliate with the political party, but it's been Imran Khan. And the reason he's been an inspiration for me is because he followed two different career paths in life. He went from being a star cricketer and now he's a politician. And with each field comes its own pros and cons. And as someone who's a student of law and is also pursuing acting, he really gives me inspiration that you can really have it all if you want to, because human beings are multidimensional. So that's my biggest role model.
Wonderful. Zanib, your turn.
I would say my mom, for sure. I've done interviews with you before, and I've said it all the time that my mom is my role model, the only role model that I have. She's a very hardworking woman, and as a single mother, I would say she has supported us in every way that she can, and she's someone I look up to.
In last 2 minutes, 2 questions. Your favorite book of all times?
I would have to say Kite Runner, because I didn't put that book down for weeks, so it's definitely been my favorite book.
Why?
It was, it was very vivid. When you read the book, you could somewhat picture what experiences the characters were feeling, and it was also very raw. Like, it brought to light things that would disturb you reading it, but that's really what stuck with me. And then later the movie came out, which I actually never saw the movie because I'm always disappointed in the movie after reading the book. So yeah, I would say that's my favorite book.
Yours?
I think I said it last time too, that I read it when I was younger. It's a book called The Child Called It. And after reading it, it's about a kid who was abused. And just reading the book, how I felt at that moment, that actually left that impact in my life, because I've seen so much of that around me. And there's so many stories, so I always have that feeling towards it.
Wonderful. Such a pleasure talking to both of them. And as we conclude this conversation, last question relates to your favorite destination, place which you have seen and enjoyed being there, or place that you have in mind that you would like to go.
I don't want to sound biased, but my favorite place to go is Lahore because I love the food there and I love the culture. There's so many different sights you can see, and it's really a true vacation for me when I go to Lahore, because that's where I was born. I have my memories of my family, of my grandparents, and I feel at home even when I go now.
Wonderful. I'm reminded, probably there is a play called Jine Lahore Ni Vekhya To Kuch Nahi
Gana,
Vekhya.
Gana,
नहीं
Gana.
नहीं
It's a song.
जिन्हें लाहौर देखा नहीं और जमिया नहीं.
Jine Lahore Takya aur Jamia nahi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite place? Don't say Lahore now.
No, it's not. I haven't been to Lahore for a while. I recently visited Istanbul, and the culture itself I was blown away with, because there's a European side and then there's like a culture side that relates back to home. So the two diverse cultures, it's something really beautiful, and I would like
Such
that.
a beautiful experience talking to Zanib and Sarish Khan, Miss Pakistan USA 2015, and founder of Miss Pakistan USA pageant. Both of you join us here, and talking to you made me, as well as I'm sure many of our viewers, felt there is another side of Pakistan. There is another side of females that have their roots in Pakistan, and that is intellectually uplifting, as well as, of course, it is worth celebrating the sense of oneness that we all share by virtue of being human being, respecting our respective cultures, and bringing the positive and the bright side of life to the table to make this world a better place. With lots of good wishes to you, Zanib, and stay in those thoughts which bring you closer to creative and positive ideas. Once again, it was such a pleasure having you here, Sarish, with lots of good wishes in your career, as well as whatever dreams you choose to pursue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Talking to them and thanking you all for making this conversation so meaningful by your encouraging presence. With lots of good wishes, this is Ashok Vyas.